Hello there, and welcome to Uplifted. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, and what a beautiful day we are having today. Sure be nice if we would have a few more like this. Just gorgeous weather. We are studying from Daniel how to have an excellent spirit. And we have looked in Daniel chapter number 6, where it states, "Then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes, because an excellent spirit was in him, and the king sought to set him over the whole realm." And I think as Christians, we need to be very conscious of what our spirit is. And I think we definitely need to believe right. Our doctrine needs to be right. But our disposition needs to be correct. It needs to be honoring to the Lord. And Daniel definitely had that. Daniel was blessed by God, but also he was found in favor with God and man. And so we've been breaking down and looking at the ingredients of an excellent spirit. What goes into having that excellent spirit? We saw, first of all, it's a clean spirit. Daniel chapter 1, that Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself. If we're going to stay clean in this old world, it's going to happen on purpose. You know, we've got a real emphasis right now being put on germs and virus, and everyone's washing their hands and putting sanitizer on everything. And of course, we're very conscious of this right now. I'm even more conscious of it than I normally would be. But how conscious are we of having a clean spirit and protecting our spirit? The filth and trash we let in is very, very damaging. You've probably heard the term trash in, trash out. If we allow a bunch of trash in, we can't be surprised when we're seeing a bunch of trash come out. The Bible also tells us to keep thine heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. To guard, to protect our heart. So we see a clean spirit. We see, secondly, a forgiving spirit. Of course, we saw that demonstrated in Daniel's life. We also took a look at David and Joseph. But the scripture says in Ephesians chapter 4, "Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice, and be ye kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as God for Christ's sake hath forgiven you." And the truth is, it's surprising at times how we have a tendency to treat one another. And I believe it grieves the heart of God. For doesn't he tell us that we ought to be good? He says, "As much as lieth in you, be at peace with all men." But then he says what? "Especially to those who are of the household of faith." He's saying there, be good to my kids. And we cannot go wrong by being gracious and good to God's children. Number 3, we looked at the spirit of praise and thanksgiving. And we saw God's attitude toward this thing of praise and thanksgiving. That's why he puts in a list of some very, very destructive sins, the sin of being unthankful. I love what Psalm 100 says. "Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all ye lands. Serve the Lord with gladness and come before his presence with singing." We'll actually come back to verse number 2 in just a few moments. "Know ye that the Lord, he is God. It is he that hath made us, and not we ourselves. We are his people and the sheep of his pasture. Enter into his gates with thanksgiving, and into his courts with praise. Be thankful unto him, and bless his name. For the Lord is good, his mercy is everlasting, and his truth endureth to all generations." A thankful spirit. Psalm 34, verse 1 says, "I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth." My soul shall make her boast in the Lord. The humble shall hear thereof and be glad. O magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. And the truth is, our praise is a reflection of what our hearts are filled with. And let me just challenge you, be really careful what you are spending your time listening to. I've received a few phone calls of folks that are very gripped with fear. And I believe it's a result of them spending far too much time listening to the news and the reports, and it's filling their heart. And so what is the fruit of that? The fruit of that is the fear is overflowing in our hearts. And so we see here the spirit of praise and thanksgiving. I like what he says here there in verse number, or Psalm 34 and verses 1 through 3. And oh, magnify the Lord with me, and let us exalt his name together. It's probably one of the things I'm just definitely missing during this time, is being able to get together with you. And of course, I'm still able to preach. It's not the same without you sitting out there. But oh, the song service and the fellowship times and all the other things we enjoy, and being able to just enjoy the Lord together, and I'm sure missing that. But then we come to the fourth ingredient, and I'm going to just touch on it, and then we'll pick it up again on Thursday, and that is the spirit of service. That Daniel had a heart to serve. Daniel served his leadership. Daniel served the king. And I really think it's a missing ingredient in people's lives today. Folks are looking to be served, they're looking to be cared for, but yet there's not a great interest of serving others and caring for the needs of others. And when we are self-serving, it is very, very empty. It's a very little world that we live in when we're living a self-serving life. Daniel, in the 2nd chapter, in verse 46, it says there, Then the King Nebuchadnezzar, fell upon his face and worshipped Daniel, and commanded that they should offer an oblation and sweet odors unto him. The king answered unto Daniel and said, Of a truth it is that your God is the God of gods and the Lord of kings, and a revealer of secrets, seeing thou couldest reveal this secret. Here and in a number of other passages through Daniel, we see that Daniel had a heart to serve those. It's one of the reasons why they preferred him, they promoted him, because they saw that Daniel did not have his own agenda, but Daniel was interested in making them successful, in serving them. I tell you folks, there's nothing like being used by the Lord. It's a lot like the young man that called his pastor and said, Pastor, pray for me. I want to be used. I want to be used by God. And so the pastor began praying for him, and God opened up a door for that young man to go and pastor a church. And a few months into his pastorate, he called his pastor back and said, Pastor, I'm quitting. And he said, well, why are you quitting? He said, these people are just using me. And the truth is, often when we're busy about God's business, God uses us to help others. And at times we might feel like we're being used, when the truth is, God's using us. Remember the passage where Jesus said, and thanked the servants, and said, I appreciate when you brought me water and when you cared for me and when you visited me in jail and all these things. And they said, when did we do those things for you? And he said, when you've done it unto the least of these, you've done it unto me. Which of us wouldn't make a meal for the Lord? Which of us wouldn't go and meet one of his needs? And God says, the truth is, when you're doing it for somebody else, you're doing it for me. We see Daniel had a spirit of service. We'll look more at it on Thursday. I sure hope you were uplifted, and I sure hope you enjoy the song we've picked out for you today. God bless you.
It always comes as a surprise when the doctor breaks the news. We always think that there's more sand left in the glass. But when you're face to face with darkness, closer than you've ever been, it's not as easy to imagine this will pass. On the other side, I know that God is waiting. But while I'm standing here, it's sometimes hard to feel like He can hear me praying. When the thunder's rolling in and drowning out my voice, when the tide of pain is rising and I've got no choice but to lift up my hands and bow down my knees. 'Cause for now I have to trust, though I can't see. You are always good to me. There has never been a moment where I fully understood all the ways that you were caring for my soul. But when I'm in the darkest valleys where your will has taken me, I have never been more sure God's in control. Inside the center of your will, I find peace. And when I cannot see the answer, I will still believe. When the thunder's rolling in and drowning out my voice, when the tide of pain is rising and I've got no choice but to lift up my hands and bow down my knees. 'Cause for now I have to trust, though I can't see. You are always good to me. So good. God is so good. God is so good. He's so good to me. 'Cause for now I have to trust, though I can't see.